A warning is being raised regarding our electric grid system and its keystone infrastructure, protecting it from an electromagnetic pulse attack. The threat that could melt the electric grid would force us to face the greatest catastrophe the U.S. has ever seen. An EMP from a nuclear weapon detonated in space would, in essence, fry the whole electrical grid system. North American Aerospace Defense Command is looking for a way to protect and shield against such a strike. To put it simply, if we were attacked at a high altitude by a nuclear weapon, it would cripple our infrastructure. Margaret, currently they're looking at the Cheyenne Mountain, the Cold War bunker, to be able to go in and protect the electric grid system from having this catastrophe of possible nuclear EMP attacks, or also, too, a natural disaster of a big geomagnetic storm that actually passed us in Earth in 2012.
Right. Well, just the fact that our electrical grid system is this vulnerable really worries me a great deal. You would think that NORAD, our first line of defense against something like this, would have this as a top priority. You know, when you say the words nuclear weapon, that strikes a chord with most Americans. And we didn't talk about Iran per se, but it would be interesting to know, you know, who would be setting off this potential hazardous, dismantling force that would cripple us like this. I would assume that it would be Iran.
Yeah, and it is definitely not a priority. It's a lot of people have not talked about if this crisis happened, but it would be debilitating to our American people for food, for water, for the whole infrastructure. Many lives would be, millions of lives would be taken. There's also different ways now that they're trying to figure out with the generators. The Tesla box is coming out, which is about $3,000 to be able to prevent, because how do we protect America if while we're waiting for Washington? The bill was trying to pass in 2010, the grid bill, but it unfortunately was held out by a senator. So as Washington waits, what do we do as the American people to prevent from this if this happened by a natural disaster or a nuclear bomb?
Right. I think you're referencing Trent Franks from Arizona, who's been a big loud mouth on this issue. First of all, I don't think that most Americans have $3,000 lying around to go spend on a protective system just in case this happens. I don't know what the best line of defense would be for this, except that, we're talking about it, and perhaps more people, as they become aware of this issue, it might gain some more traction. I actually had to Google our electrical grid system. I didn't even really know what that comprised before today. So, I'm assuming most Americans are like I am.
Well, yeah, and they say they need about $2 billion to actually start this. So they're saying they should take it from Pakistan for foreign aid and pour it into our infrastructure to be able to make sure that we're ready for this. Again, these are things that are just like what happened in Louisiana when they didn't have the levees and there was a natural disaster. We don't want this to happen again. If we see the signs early on, right, perhaps we should notice it so this doesn't happen and to prevent.
Sure. I'm all for trimming our foreign aid packages, be it Pakistan, although they're one of the 9 countries that actually have nukes. So maybe not Pakistan. Maybe we should take our foreign aid away from Yemen since they're collapsing anyway.
And I think the electrical grid system should be under some type of bunker. I think that it is a bit outdated for it to be so exposed, considering we are thriving on electric now. Our nation is 100% dependent on it. So for us to not, if this did happen, we probably do need to think of new innovative ways to protect.
Sure.
And we'd like to hear what you feel about the electric grid system and how it needs to be protected. Please leave your comments below, and thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.